Hi everybody. So I'm just going to continue where I left off, creating strawberry shortcake that was originally created by @Karina Loom Bands from Instagram. All the supplies were mentioned in part 1, so if you're unsure, you can refer back to part 1. For this video, you should have the body done already. You should have 15 bands with your little E-beads threaded on and 15 strands of hair. So I'm going to continue, and I do hope you enjoy. I'm going to start off with the head, and I'm going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. 5 single crochets. So I'm using the skin color. For the top couple rows, maybe I would just do about 3 rows. You can use like a different color. You can use any color that you'd prefer for the first 3 rows, just because it gets covered. It's completely up to you if you want to save a couple of bands of the skin tone. So I'm going to take my first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to pull 5 bands through one at a time. So reaching in and grabbing your first, bring it through, and end on your hook. Top loop over and bring it to the side. Back in, second band through, end on your hook, and top 2 loops over. Bring it to the side and you want to continue. Same way, bringing a band through and top 2 loops over. You can remove off the loom. You can move your bands around. You should have 5 stitches and attach your stitch marker to the band that's around your hook. For round 2, we're going to increase to 10 stitches. So you're going to do 2 single crochets in each chain, which is your increase. I have 5 stitches here and I have 5 sections. So 2 bands in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. One at a time. Back in. For your second band, going to chain 2, 2 single crochets in that same chain. Back in. The next chain, just repeat until you get to your stitch marker. I'm at the last stitch, 2 single crochets in that same chain. Now you can remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 3, I'm going to increase to 15 stitches. So all you're going to do is in the first chain, you're doing a single crochet, and in the second chain, you're doing an increase. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You're going to repeat that 5 times and then you'll get to your stitch marker. So let me go with the first section. First chain, not where it's getting pulled, you're going to do a single crochet. Chain 2 is your increase, so you're doing 2 single crochets in that one chain. Back in. And you're going to repeat 1, 2. And again, you're going to repeat 1, 2. Continue until you get to your stitch marker. should have 15 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase to 20 stitches. So you're going to do 2 single crochets this time, followed by an increase. 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. So basically, one bend in the first 2 chains, 1, 1, and then an increase. So every 3rd stitch, you're doing an increase. You're going to repeat this pattern 5 times. So at the end of this round, you're going to have 20 stitches. So I'm going to go in my first 2 chains with a single crochet. Third chain is 2 single crochets in that same chain, 2 bands, one at a time. Back in and repeat 1, 1, 2. Continue until you get to the stitch marker. If I'm going too fast, please pause the video and follow the layout. I'm going to repeat. And one more time. You have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 5, we're going to increase to 22 stitches. So I'm going to do 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, followed by an increase. I'm going to repeat that 2 times. 6 single crochets followed by an increase. And then I'm going to end with 6 single crochets. I'm just going to switch this band. It looks like a darker pink. So I'm going to get started. 6 single crochets in the first 6 chains. Don't go where it's getting pulled. Again, you can pause the video and just follow the layout. This is my 7th chain, so it's my increase. And I'm going to repeat this row again, 6 single crochets followed by an increase. Now I have 6 chains left, 6 bands. You want to do a single crochet until you get to your stitch marker. You should have 22 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 6 and 7, you're going to do 22 single crochets. 1 band in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Each pile I have 22 bands, so at the end of each round you should have 22 stitches. I'm going to do part of round 6 with you, and you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. So I'm going to go in my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and just single crochet in each chain until you get to the stitch marker. So you can pause the video now, continue, and come back to me when you're done. For round 8, I'm going to do 22 single crochets. I have 10 and 10, which is 20, and 2. So 22 bands here, and I have the eye placement. The eyes will go on chains 8 and chains 13. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So 8 and 13. I'm adding an eye placement with a band that I am going to use after with my scissors to cut. If you don't want to do that, you can just use your safety eyes at the end and just find your placement. If you're using the beads or the bands, you want to add it on chains 8 and 10. So I'm going to get started. I'm just doing 22 single crochets and the eyes are going on chains 8 and 13. This is chain 8 and I'm adding my band with the eye placement. This is the eye placement on chain 8. For reference, there's so many different ways that you can do eyes. This one with the band, I just took a single band and wrapped it around my band here 4 times. Or I wrapped it around my hook 4 times and slid it onto a single band. So bring it through. And now continue. You're at chain 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now you want to stop there for a second because you want to make sure, which I think is okay for the eye placement if you are using beads or the bands. You just want to make sure that you like this placement. I think it is not too far and not too close. So I'm just going to continue 1 band in each chain until I get to my stitch marker. Should have 22 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12, you're just doing 22 single crochets, adding 1 band in each chain. 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Each pile I have 22 bands, so you should finish with 22 stitches. I'm going to do part of round 9 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. So getting started, in my first chain, just single crochet, Next chain, same thing, all the way until you get to the stitch marker. If you are using beads, this little stitch here, if you're using the bead, will be kind of tiny. You want to make sure that you still go in that chain. Beads pull that chain right there. Even the little band gives it a little pull, so don't skip that stitch. You have that as one of your counted stitches on this row. So you can either use more stitch markers, have a total of 4, so you know you completed the rounds, or if you can count your rounds, you know, it's up to you if you want to keep adding stitch markers in case you get distracted. So you can pause the video and come back to me when you're done. Oh, I counted one too many bands in this. So continue and come back to me when you're done. For round 13, we're going to decrease to 20 stitches. So right now we have 22 stitches, so I'm going to decrease twice. I'm going to start off with 2 single crochets, followed by a decrease. So I'm going to be stitching 3 and 4 together. I'm going to use Nancy's decrease. So Nancy's from Facebook, and she taught me a little trick if you haven't already learned this from previous videos. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets and stitch 3 and 4 together. Then I'm going to do 7 single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that would be a decrease. So 12 and 13 will be stitched together, again using Nancy's decrease. Then I'm going to do 9 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then you'll hit your stitch marker. So let's do the first row first. 2 single crochets. Don't go where it's getting pulled. Next chain. Now I'm at chain 3 and 4, and I'm going to stitch together. So I'm going to take the inside loop of the first chain and then the outside loop of the second chain. So inside loop only, and then the outside loop. So again, inside loop of the first chain, outside loop of the second chain, and stitch together. Now 7 single crochets, so 1 band in the next 7 chains. Now I'm going to stitch 12 and 13 together. So I'm at chains 12 and chains 13, and I'm going to do the same thing. Inside loop of the first chain and then the outside loop of the second chain, and stitch together. Now 1 band in each chain until you get to your stitch marker. You should have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 14, it's our last round for the head. We're going to decrease to 15 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. I'm going to use Nancy's technique. 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. I'm going to repeat this pattern 5 times and then you'll get to your stitch marker. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So I'm going to go in my first 2 chains with a single crochet. And now the decrease, inside loop of the first chain, outside loop of the second chain. And I'm going to repeat 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. Each decrease gives it a different look depending on the designer. How they created the pattern really depends on the type of decrease that you're going to do. So now it's the decrease. I'm going to stitch the 2 stitches together, inside loop of the first, outside loop of the second chain, and stitch together. And repeat. Continue following the pattern until you get to your stitch marker. I'm going to do this one more time. Last band where your decrease is, it's a slip knot. So you're bringing it through all the bands that are on your hook. Inside loop, outside loop. Bring this band through all the loops and tie it off. You can remove your stitch marker. We'll be adding our safety eyes if you have that, and stuffing the head next. Now I'm going to be adding the eyes, and the placement that I'm going to do it is the first eye. If you have the safety eyes, I'm going to go on the inside part of this side and the inside part of the other side. I'm going to snap and then I'm going to cut. Now I have the dullest pair of scissors with me because I have no idea where my other scissors went. So I'm just going to snap these. I'm going to add a little mouth after I stuff. And I'm just going to grab an end. Be very careful that you don't cut the bands of the face. So I'm just going to pull this band out a little bit. Use my very dull scissors. They worked a little bit better than I thought they were. Going to so now I'm just going to add a little bit of stuffing, fill up the head area. When stuffing, you could check out the proportion of the body and make sure that the stuffing is not showing through the bands. I'm going to add a little bit more. You want to make sure that the head is more round, not long. So I'm just trying to fill out the cheek areas. And I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to take some out. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a red band to give the mouth. I am using a skin color band. You could use a white if you'd like. All I'm going to do is go through probably about here, and I'm going to skip a stitch and go out the other. I'm going to bring my band through, grab the end, and secure it by doing a slip knot. And I'm going to bring my slip knot through. Now to sew on the head to the body, I'm going to find my placements in the back in 1 second. I'm going to use white bands, and I'm going to use 15, and I'm going to do 15 single crochets. For this one, I'm not going to do slip knots around, I'm just going to single crochet. So let's turn the body around, fold the body in half, and find your center back. So if you take the body, squeeze it in half, the band that's going sideways is the band that you're going to start at. Now you're going to find your center back on the head. So I'm looking at the eyes here and folding it in half and finding the band that's going sideways. And I'm going to put my hook through. Now using 15 bands, you're going to do 15 single crochets. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So you're just bringing your bands through the head, then through the body, grabbing your end and slide. The next chain on the body, and the next chain on the head. Bring your band through both of the chains on your hook and slide. Body first, then the next chain over on the head, and same thing, single crochet. You want to do this all the way around, grabbing the body first and then the head. Make sure you don't skip a stitch. This is where now you want to make sure that the head is falling to the center. You'll be able to tell now. If not, you want to just try again. I'm at the last chains. So the last band, you're just going to do a slip knot. So you're bringing it through all the loops, grabbing the end and tying it off. Making sure it's in the center, and your back bands, you could just go through the body and hide your slip knots. And you can do that with the other. Now we're going to create her little hat, and I'm going to start off with this pom-pom part first. In the doll, I did add a little bit of stuffing, so it's up to you if you want to or not. I don't think I'm going to this time. So I'm going to start off using the lime green color or the color green of your choice. I'm going to do 5 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to use the bottom part of my loom and take my first band and wrap it around 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're bringing 5 bands through, one at a time. Reaching in, your first band, end on your hook and top loop over. Bring it to the side and continue. Going back in with your second band, end on your hook, and now the top 2 loops over and bring it to the side. Back in, bring it through, top 2 loops over, and to the side. Continue. Remove it off the loom, move your bands around, and attach your stitch marker to this band that's around your hook. You should have 5 stitches. I have rounds 2, 3, and 4 here. For rounds 2, we're going to increase on each chain around, so we'll have 10 stitches. So each chain, you're going to add 2 bands, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Then for round 3, you're going to do 10 single crochets in each round. So each pile here, I have 10 bands. I'm going to start with round 2. Going in the first chain is an increase, 2 bands, one at a time. Back in. Now the next chain, 2 bands. Back in. I have 3 chains left, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 sections. Continue until you get to your stitch marker. You have 10 stitches, remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. Now for round 3, again, you're doing 10 single crochets, 1 band in each chain until you get to the stitch marker. For round 4, you're repeating. So when I'm done round 3, you can actually just pause the video and come back to me when you're done. You should have 10 stitches, remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and you can do the same thing for round 4. Go around, 1 band in each chain, pause the video, and come back to me when you're done. For round 5, I'm going to increase to 15 stitches, and I'm switching color to the pink. Because I'm switching colors, I'm going to start off with a slip stitch, so I'll be bringing my first band through all the loops. The pattern is 1 single crochet followed by an increase, 1 single crochet followed by an increase. So it's just 1 band, then 2 bands, 1 band, and then 2 bands. You're repeating this pattern 5 times, so you'll have 15 stitches when you're done. Now for this round, you're going to grab the outside loops only. So at each chain, you're just grabbing the outside loops only, all the way around. So I'm going to go to my first chain, not where it's getting pulled, grabbing the outside loop only. I'm starting with a slip stitch because I'm changing color, and slide. Now chain 2, outside loop only. You're adding 2 bands to that one little loop. Back again for the second. And you're just going to repeat that all the way till you get to the stitch marker. So outside loop only, first one, single crochet. The next chain, an increase, outside loop only. A little bit tricky, so take your time. Again. And repeat. Follow the layout. And just continue until you get to the stitch marker. After this, if you want to stuff the little pom-pom at the top, it's when you want to do that now. I really don't think that you need to. If you do stuff it, just make sure that it's kind of flat and not sticking up. So you should have 15 stitches. This is what you want. Remove your stitch marker and add it carefully to the span that's around your hook. Try not to pull. For round 6, we're going to increase to 20 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. 2 single crochets followed by an increase, and I'm going to repeat this pattern 5 times. So you'll have 20 stitches when you're done. I'm going to go in my first chain, not the slip knot, not where it's getting pulled. You want to go in your first chain and do your single crochet. Chain 2 is a single crochet. And chain 3 is your increase. So just every third chain, you're adding 2 bands. Repeat 1, 1, 2. Follow the layout until you get to your stitch marker. Again, you should have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 7, we're going to increase to 25 stitches. So this time I'm going to do 3 single crochets followed by an increase. 3 single crochets followed by an increase. You're going to repeat 5 times. So I'm going to go in the first 3 chains, not where it's getting pulled, and I'm going to do like a single crochet in the first 3 chains. Now my increase is on my 4th chain, so just every 4th chain you're adding 2 bands. You're going to repeat, follow the layout until you get to your stitch marker. I'm going to do this 2 more times and then I'll hit the stitch marker. Just to show you, I have 4 chains left, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4 sections left. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 8, we're going to increase to 30 stitches. So I'm going to just add an extra band in here. I'm going to do 4 single crochets followed by an increase. 4 single crochets followed by an increase. So just every 5th chain you're doing an increase. I'm going to repeat this pattern 5 times and you'll have 30 stitches when you're done. I'm going to go in the first chain, not where it's getting pulled. So just following the layout, 1 band in the first 4 chains and then an increase. I'm going to repeat. And continue until you get to your stitch marker. Ooh, looks like the sun came out. Even though it's so cold outside here. Just to show you, I have 5 chains left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 sections left. Continue until you get to that stitch marker. So for round 8 now, you should have 30 stitches and remove your stitch marker. For round 9, this is our last round that we're going to increase. So this round I'm going to increase to 35 stitches. I'm going to do 5 single crochets followed by an increase. 5 single crochets followed by an increase. Repeating that 5 times. I'm using 5 beads for this round, and they're going to be on chains 5. So basically there's 4. On your 5th, you're adding your bead or your wrapped band, and on your 6th, every 6th, you're adding 2 bands. For round 10, I have 35 bands here, so you're going to do 35 single crochets. I'm going to start you off with round 10, and then you're going to pause the video, continue, and come back to me when you're done. So you're just adding 1 band in each chain, 35 bands, 35 single crochets, and 35 chains when you're done. So I'm going to get started here. I'm going to do 5 single crochets. My 5th chain, I'm adding my bead. Don't go where it's getting pulled. Just follow the layout. The 5th chain, adding the bead. 6th chain is your increase. Back in. And repeat. Bead, and increase. Back in. You want to continue. You should have 6 chains left. You have 6 sections left. I'm just going to move up. So you have 35 stitches, remove that stitch marker, and then you can start with round 10. 1 band in each chain until you get to the stitch marker. So this is where you're just adding 1 band in each chain, and you just want to pause the video and come back to me when you're done. I have rounds 11 and 12 here. For both rounds, you're doing 35 single crochets. I have 35 bands here, 10, 20, 30, and 5. 35 in total. Here I also have 35 bands, so you're just doing 35 single crochets. For round 11, I'm adding the beads, and they are going to go on chains 1, 7, 15, 21, and 28. So you can see I've counted the bands, and how I've counted is this is chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So you could probably just pause the video, follow the layout, and come back to me when you're done. Now I'm going to do rounds 11 with you and start you off with round 12, and you're going to still pause the video. So I'm going to get started, starting off with the bead. Let me just fix my little pattern. Bring the bead through and continue. Should have 35 stitches. Still, remove your stitch marker, add it to the band that's around your hook, and you want to start with round 12. One single crochet in each chain around until you get to the stitch marker. You want to pause the video now and come back to me when you're done. For round 13, I'm again going to do 35 single crochets, and I'm using 5 beads. So each row here I have 10, 10, 20, 30, and 5. So 35 in total. The beads are going to go on chains 3, 10, 17, 24, and 31. So you can go ahead and just start following the layout. I'm not going to do the whole round with you, so you can just pause the video now if you'd like to copy the layout. I'm just going to start you off, one band in each chain. So I've just done 10 single crochets. You can continue with the rest of the pattern and pause the video and come back to me when you're done. For round 14, we're going to decrease to 23 stitches. What I'm going to do is a decrease followed by a single crochet. Decrease followed by a single crochet. I'll be using Nancy's decrease, so inside and outside loop to stitch my stitches together. I'm going to repeat this 12 times. So I have 6 and 6 rows is 12 rows. So you want to repeat 12 times. You want to make sure that you do your decrease first and then your single crochet, or you'll just have too many stitches still when you're done, and then the hat will be too big for her head. So my first 2 stitches I'm stitching together, so I'm going to grab the inside loop of the first chain, outside loop of the second chain. Followed by a single crochet. Repeat, decrease, inside loop, outside loop. Stitch together. Followed by a single crochet. Repeat until you get to the stitch marker. Actually, I made a mistake. This last band, we don't need. We are ending with with a decrease, and then you should have 23 stitches. I'm sorry. So your last 2 stitches will be together, and you won't have any more chains left. So it's inside, outside, and bring your band through. I do apologize for that. Remove your stitch marker. You should have 23 stitches. Now this is round 15, our last round, and I'm going to be switching to the white color. Now I have 23 bands here because you should have 23 stitches. So I have 10 and 10 and 3. So that's 23. Now if you'd like, you could end like this. So that's using 23 bands, or you can use an extra band and have a complete circle so you don't see that white chain there. And that's what I'm going to be doing. So it's completely up to you. You can do a slip knot with your last band or add an extra one. So all you're doing is going around, you're changing color, so you're going to start off with a slip stitch. Don't go in the chain where it's getting pulled. Bring it through all the loops that are on your hook, and you're adding 1 band to each chain until you get to the stitch marker. This is the last band. You could either do a slip knot now or a slip knot with your extra band by going in your next chain over. So the first band where you started your single crochet and tie it off. So it's just a nice little even white circle there. You can remove the stitch marker. The top part of the hat is complete. Now we're going to do the little visor part of her hat. What I'm going to do is using 7 bands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to do 7 single crochets, grabbing the inside loops only. So just the first little loop. You're going to find 7 chains evenly to the center front. So having your slip knot here at the back, I'm going to find 7 stitches evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to do about that. What I'm going to do is going from the inside to the outside, just grabbing the inside loop only, and single crochet. So get comfortable, but you want to go from the inside to the outside, not down. And using 7 bands, you want to do 7 single crochets, inside loop only. It really makes a difference on how you grab the chains when you're doing your single crochets. So I've just done 7 single crochets. Now for round 2, you're going to go in reverse, doing 6 single crochets because now you only have 6 stitches. You're going to go from the inside to the outside. You're going through the same chain where your band is coming out of, through the green here, and you're going to work backwards from the inside to the outside. You want to do 6 stitches. Take your time. And there's one more chain here, the 6th. So now we're going to do round 3 and we're going to do 5 single crochets. That means we are going to skip the stitch where we started and we're going to go over. Now you're going to use an extra band to tie it off. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to grab. So you can use 5 bands and single crochet in reverse here, from the inside to the outside. So that's where we stopped. Now, her hat and the visor part is going straight down. So we kind of want it to go up. So what I'm going to do is just grab one of these little stitches from the inside to the out. So I'm going to grab like 2 little loops, just like that. And I'm going to take a band and tie it off. So I'm just basically doing a little slip knot. And I'm going to bring that band through. And now I'm just going to hide it. So I'm going to go through these little stitches here just to kind of hide it. And hoping that the little visor kind of goes up. I'm only having it up in one corner. I did before do 2 little slip knots because I didn't know how to keep the visor up. I just didn't like the way it is finished. So I just thought we could kind of do that. Or I went through the white here. We really don't want to go through the white. We kind of want to go through just before the white to pull it through and then just hide it. I didn't realize that, sorry. And I'm just probably gonna lock it through one little stitch there and hope. Now you can still see this band. So I'm gonna bring it to the inside and then try to hide it. I'm thinking you get my point. Maybe go through the little white, little green loops that are attached to the white, and then probably look and then continue to hide it. Now you're going to need your doll, the hat, you're going to need 3 red bands, and your 15 chains. Also your hook. You want to put on the hat. So you want to find the placement of how we're going to attach it. So you're going to imagine that the hair, see, you can see I've attached it to the face here, or to the head, and I'm going to start at the chain right above the eye. You're going to use your bands, so your chains, so you're going to take them off. Find your placement before you actually take it off. You want to find the eye and you want to start right above, and you're going to start through the inside loop of the white part of the hat. So I went through the chain right above the eye and grabbed the inside loop of the hat. Each chain around on the head, you're going to grab a chain on the head and the inside loop of the hat. So after you grab it, you're going to take the hair piece, grab one end and bring it through both of those chains. Grab your end and slide. You're going to go beside, so make sure that the placement of the hat, you like where it is. So you're not covering her eyes with the visor part, but you do need the hat on. If you're having trouble, take a toothpick and secure it. So just push a toothpick through and it should help you to keep it in place. Now you're just going down and around, grabbing the chain, the next one over, and the inside loop of the hat. Grab your chain, grab one end, bring it through. I've done this before with the Smurfette doll, and you're bringing it through the red. Grab the end. So basically they look like little slip stitches around. So you want to just kind of put it flat, see where you're grabbing for the head, then the inside loop of the hat. And you're just doing the same thing all the way around. Make sure you're holding on to the chain so your bands don't fall apart. Inside loop only. When you get to the other side here of the shoulder area, you want to compare it to the other side just to make sure that the two sides are even. Squeeze the chain and make sure you don't lose your end. So you can just keep grabbing these and continue going. I'm going to do one more before I start to check, just to make sure I'm even or not on both sides. If you're using a toothpick, it should just be in place and you'll be able to just go easily. So I want to make sure that my hat is even on both sides, and I'm just going to continue. I'm down to the last one. Just going to fix this up, make sure it's okay. And I have one more chain on the white here to go. What I'm going to do is, using 2 bands, I'm going to make a chain. So I'm going to grab the chain on the face here, a white chain, the inside loop of the hat, and I'm going to make a chain of 2. So I'm going to bring my band through all the loops and on my hook. Bringing my band through a chain. Now I'm going to grab on to the next loop, which was used already for the green. So I'm going to go through the head and the inside loop. And I'm going to do a slip knot. So I'm going to bring my band through all the loops and tie it off. Now I'm going to hide this band, so I'm going to go through the hat and through the actual head and come out and grab this band and bring it through. Push the face down, push the eyes in. And then I'm just going to tie her hair in the back. We just want to fix all these loops first. So if any of your loops are twisting, just get the chain and fix up the little loop. By just moving all you have to do is just kind of move the bands around, and then the loop should just fix itself. Now this part is completely optional. What I'm going to do is take 6 of the strands, 3 on either side, and I'm going to tie it together with a single band. Then I'm going to add this little strawberry button, just the way I did for the other side. Again, completely optional. You can leave her like that, or you can kind of just do it like this one. So again, this is just optional. I'm going to take a single band. One is going to be for the button, which I'm just going to thread now. So I'm using my double-ended rainbow loom crochet hook. You can thread this just with string like you did for the buttons. Just going to put that to the side. Now turning her around, I'm going to take 3 strands, one at a time, starting from the first one, and I'm going to go through 2 of the loops of the cat band. Just 2. Grabbing the second strand, making sure that it's flat and not twisted, grabbing 2 loops of the cat band, and the next. So 3. Now I'm going to go to the other side and use these 3, but I'm going to start with this one first. Through 2 little loops. Now the second. Just need 2. And for the first one. Now I'm going to tie these together, bringing this band through all of the loops. So put on the end of your hook and just slide 1 chain at a time, and then you're just doing a simple slip knot. And slide. Now I took this button, I'm just going to take one and secure it with the other end, and I went through the middle. You'll find a middle, and I'm going to grab the end, bring it through, grab the other end that's on the button, slide, and then just bring it over. These little buttons I found at Michael's, in case you're wondering. And then you're just going to fix up all the chains and try to get them straight. For some reason today my chains have all twisted. So it just depends on how we made our chains. So she's done, and I do hope you enjoyed. I hope you like her. I'm going to fix up the mouth. Thanks for watching.